Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, everybody, TGIF. Oh, and do I mean it today? Yes, I do. Last Friday when we got here, remember I was like, whoo, thank you, Jesus. I mean, is it me? Is it just me? Good morning, beautiful people. Where are my manners? I'm so rude. Good morning. Love you guys. Listen, is it just me? Or does it seem like this with this, quarantine and stuff, it's like I'm working more. I don't even leave the house, but I feel like I've been all over town and oh my goodness, what is it? We're working more and more. You guys, you gotta help me out and tell me. Is it with you? Do you feel like you're like, I mean, up until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 nights this week, but that's a good thing. Um, I was really worried. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You've heard me say this before. I was super worried because I had like 9 speaking engagements, like 2 weeks after the pandemic arose, I canceled. And back then, you're like, why are they panicking? This thing will be over in a second. And my furthest out booked gig was all the way in November. And they were the first ones, and it was a government thing, and they were the first ones to cancel. And I was like, government canceled. Uh, it must know something. So anyway, um, I'm much more busy now than I think I was this time last year. It's just odd, isn't it? I'm not complaining because we like work and we like that you worked to get here this morning. I know it wasn't easy to get up. It's been raining here in the Chicagoland area off and on all week. Not too bad. Those kind of things where it'll come and pour down rain for about 3 minutes and the sun's right across the street shining and then it'll stop. Is my skin dry? Feels like it. Anyway, got inducted as a board member into our Naperville Rotary yesterday. Yay! Um, yeah, that's right. I'm going to be a community activist. That's right. And so that's how my week has been. Just busy working, and um, it's my first week as a 58-year-old. So far, no new old people things have shown up. Thank you God for that one. Just the old standby 10 or 12 that I've had all along. So when another thing happened to me, milestone this week. I went out and took my brand new knee. I had a full knee replacement in January, the last week of January. And this week I'm playing again tonight. Doubles tennis for the first time. And it was weird because for the first hour, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even throw the ball up to serve it. It was like coming right here to my face and it'd be going like this. I know the people were looking at me because I had never played with any of them before. Found them online, and they were, no, go on. Now here's the part. I think I told you guys this the next day after I played. You know what got me to get out of my head? We switched sides, and one of the guys that was playing on the opposing team didn't even notice it. Here I was complaining about, oh, you guys, please, 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 bear with me. I got this new knee, blah, blah, blah. And the guy comes over to switch sides, and I go to hand in the ball, and he puts his racket under his arm, and he takes it with me. He goes, I only have one arm. This is the prosthesis. I was like, oh my goodness. When I walked back over to the other, and it just goes to show you how powerful our minds are. And we're going to talk about that somewhat today because today my guest is Cora Goodwin. I met Cora, Brian and I both, my husband, we met Cora way back 4 years ago at the beginning of this career for me, not long into it. And she knew Brian first, and we were writing articles. She was in publishing. And here she is, still in our lives. We just love her to death. Um, She's a single mom. She's a full stack digital marketer, full stack and full stack. No, I didn't say full stack. I know somebody out there was thinking that. Get your head out of the gutter. Full stack digital marketer and growth hacker. Now, how many times a day do you run into somebody that says, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a full stack digital marketer and a growth hacker. Ooh. So we're going to find out all about that. She lives in Austin, Texas. Um, and she supports startups and small businesses in the low carb and keto space. Um, she helps them come into alignment. I think that's what she's saying. She studied mindfulness based stress reduction. Say that 10 times and I'll give you a free cookie. Mindfulness based stress reduction at University of Massachusetts Memorial Medical Center. She's passionate, and I can attest to that. She's definitely passionate about about helping people to accept themselves in the present moment to help them better support their health, wealth, and nutrition goals. Find Clara on at Clara. That's her social handle on all major channels, and we're going to put that on the screen so you can continue the dialogue because I know you're going to want to. And I believe she jogged all the way in today. I saw she was like pouring sweat and everything just a little bit ago when I peeked out the window and saw her jogging down the road, high fiving and grabbing some kind of green tea from people that were lining the streets because everyone here in Naples knew she was coming. So is she ready yet? She's blow drying. What?
Hi, good morning.
Wow. You look a lot different than you did when you jogged in this morning. How'd you? You were in gray sweats, all full of sweat, and now look at you. You look like you're ready for the runway.
Thank you. Good
How are
morning.
you, Clara?
I am so good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Tired. You already know because I told you in the green room. And you had a late night as well, right?
Did. I have not been sleeping good lately.
You haven't?
No, I think honestly, there's just a
Kind of
lot of
Christmas.
energy changes that are happening right now. We mentioned there's a lot of moon activity. If you are
Yes.
sensitive to those changes, then you know this is a busy time of manifestation and of change right now. So feeling everything from everywhere, which is wonderful, but it does come with responsibility.
Yes, it does. And it's interesting that you mentioned the moon changes. I brought that up on my show Monday morning because I wanted someone to clarify. Maybe you can help. Um,
Mhm.
I was, a week ago, yesterday was my 58th birthday, the 4th of July, and I was at my sister's house in Michigan, and she said, she's weird anyway. I love her to death, but she's weird. And she said, she looked at me and she goes, do you know that today is some kind of moon talk, she said. Because she's the one who has full moon parties.
Mhm.
Okay, blue moon parties, all kind of parties for the moon. So she says, the moon is blah 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 blah, and it's on your birthday. And I was like, okay, what I mean. I went on about my business, but I believe there must be something going on. Like, what is that? Does it drain us?
So interestingly, I was like you. Even just a few years ago, I was very resilient to a lot of the hippy dippy ideas. But the reality is people have been studying kind of the Earth and its axes and how we interact with other planets and our planetary alignments for thousands of years. And we've seen this in past civilizations where people have this higher spiritual attunement, and they're much more in touch with the universe and with the natural energies. And the moon is our closest natural orbiting satellite, and it's right there with us. So if you imagine, when the moon shifts, it's able to give us the tides, it's able to move the
Yeah.
ocean. So that is an incredible force. So if you want to break it down into a scientific level, you're talking about moving an ocean. So why wouldn't you have some sort of feeling? And your sister is absolutely right. We
She,
are going through a period where we are leaping between, I think, three eclipses. We've had several incredible moon cycles that have been happening, different phases that are kind of coming and going. And the idea behind moon cycles is each one is to kind of guide us and aid us in the work that we need to do for ourselves, whether that is a period of harvest where we're going to reap the rewards, whether we're going to plant new ideas, new seeds to help us grow our businesses or relationships, whether it's a period of rest and retreat. And I think for people who are maybe not in the knowing of those cycles, you've probably felt those periods in your life intuitively. So you've maybe
mm-hmm.
felt tired and exhausted right now. Maybe you're not sleeping good. Maybe you have a lot of headaches and a lot of stress.
Brian
You're
said
just
all that yesterday.
constantly fatigued, and it's the moon cycle. And then you might just have
Wow.
periods where you wake up and you have so much energy and everything is just going right, and it's like bam bam bam, things are happening, things are manifesting, all this positive and good news is coming into your life. And a lot of the times when you go back and you look at the moon cycle, there's a direct correlation. And the same thing happens like this when we talk to people. Oh, so and so said this, and so, oh, my mom feels this, and my
Right.
partner feels this way. So it's not just you. And I think that if you are open to realizing that you are one of a collective of people and that we're journeying this together, it can make you feel a lot less alone and overwhelmed when you do have those busy periods that come in. So I have become really great friends with the moon. I think that
Okay.
is a really wonderful and beautiful way to kind of have a dance partner in life where you can kind of go with the moon's flow instead of resisting it, and to kind of understand and preempt, okay, we're going to be coming into this period. What can I do to really capitalize on that time and make this a good use of my time? So now, over July 4th, I really took the time off. Usually I would work through holidays. I said, no, I'm going to, take time off. This is a time of retreat. We need to recoup. I went and spent it with our in-laws. We had a really nice, relaxed, low-key weekend. And now
Nice.
back into work, I feel like I have the energy to kind of start planting those seeds and do the hard work. Like you, I was up until, oh gosh, like 1:30 this morning, just hustle, hustle, hustle. So it does well for you to listen to your intuition.
It really does. And I have a question for you, since you're good friends with the moon. I'm good friends with the tooth fairy. Seriously, she and I had a relationship. Well, we used to until my sister, the weird one, busted it out when I was like 7 that she really didn't exist. I'm still devastated from that. Seriously, she used to leave me notes and stuff, and she'd always stand me up on lunch appointments. Oh, I'm tired. I had too many teeth to carry last night. Blah blah blah. But here's some of my extra change that I couldn't take with me. My mom, God bless her soul, rest in peace. She had me so duped. But anyway, listen, I want to know, is the moon a male or a female? Is it a he or a she? Or is it a they? Because, we say Mother Earth.
Hmm.
So how do people refer to the moon? Is it, because they say a man in the moon. So do you
Yes.
think it's a male persona or what? And
I think that's a wonderful question. We definitely do kind of illustrate the moon. We talk about the man in the moon. I kind of see the sun and the moon as being kind of like the feminine and the masculine. You really do need both together. And I think it really says a lot for the moon and how it has that direct impact in our lives, because
Mhm.
it is a much more forceful, direct, and masculine energy. So people have picked up on those subtle differences and nuances, like I said, for thousands of years. But
Right? And let's
I,
not forget, Frank Zappa named his daughter Moon Unit. So,
mm,
I actually met her once. And Dweezil, the son, I met them once when I was out in Hollywood back in the olden days. So, Plura, that title of what you do, I can't even remember what it was, something stacker and a hacker, stacker hacker. So, Doug, and I'm going to tell you, explain what you do, and explain what you've done with some of these companies. You've done some great work with some of these companies in the last few years. And I actually, not to put you under any pressure, but I actually have the CEO of a company here today watching you, because I told them they needed to see you, because of how brilliant you
oh,
are.
thank you
So
so
I just, no pressure, but yeah, there's someone out there watching you right now. I know they're here because I see it on the screen. So,
thank
so go ahead and explain what it is you do, because it's so interesting and you're so good at it.
Thank you. So I think the simplest way to describe what I do is I am Mary Poppins. I come into companies who have either just kind of been created. I work with startups or small companies who have, they're in that starry-eyed kind of phase where they have big lofty goals, they have a vision, they want to impact the world and create social change, and they want to do all this incredible stuff, but they might not know how to do it. Or, as you often find in startups, they might not have the time to do everything. So when a company is created, you're obviously on a bootstrap. There's usually a very small budget, and you have to be very economical. So my position is twofold. I work as a full stack digital marketer, which basically means I am a Jill of all trades. So whatever
Okay.
needs, I provide. So I will go in as project manager, and I will work with their teams to help create plans of action, and then I can find and resource the people, or sometimes I will step in and I will do the copywriting, the graphic designing, the editing, the social media, the marketing, the email copywriting, through to the higher levels. So I will work with CEOs to help them create their branding, their vision. I will help them with their manufacturing, their product distribution. I work with warehousing. So there are, anywhere up to infinite amounts of steps that can happen in a business, and I can fulfill pretty much any of those roles. None to mastery, but enough to get companies going. So over the last 5 years, I have started working with some really incredible companies in the low carb and keto space. As you might know, the keto diet has really blown up and is everywhere. Even Walmart now has a keto section. So there are incredible companies out there, people with a vision and a passion for nutrition, to kind of create these, we call them, like health food snacks, but really
Yeah.
they're dupes on all of the foods that we know and love. That you don't necessarily have to give up. So I have worked with cookie companies, candy companies. There's people making keto chocolate bars, keto marshmallows, anything that you can think of that you grew up with and you loved. There are recipe hacks that we can now create and manufacture low carb versions, which just essentially means taking out the sugar, the preservatives, the additives, all the junk that you wouldn't want to, consume for you or your family, and make them super delicious and in some cases nutritious. A lot of these products have high proteins. We can add vitamins and minerals. We can play with the formulations, and we can create snack foods. There's even keto Pop Tarts now. So some of the companies that I've worked with have gone on to Shark Tank. So they
Wow.
had deals accepted. You'll find a lot of those companies in Trader Joe's, in Whole Foods, and
Okay.
of the little bougie markets. So people are really kind of cluing into this being like a great way for them to get in shape, to feel good, to kind of take out a lot of those additives and preservatives. And I have been blessed to meet some really incredible game changers who are kind of shaping, honestly, how big businesses are doing business now. So
Mhm.
if you go into Starbucks, if you go into Olive Garden, if you go, like I said, into Walmart, we have changed menus. We have, there's people now in each department in those companies catering to a low carb keto market, because the changes that we've made at this grassroots level has been so incredibly impactful.
So I just got to say, I was sitting here smiling while you were talking. I didn't wonder what. I just saying, funny. What's he grinning at? I have to say it. I was laughing to myself. I said, I wish I had been a fly on the wall back in the day when you used to go out to clubs and stuff, and the guys come over and they think, "Ooh, look at that blonde over there. I bet she's just as dumb as a box of rocks." And then you start talking, and they're like,
Well, this is the problem.
"What? What'd you say? What? Key what?" Because I'm just sitting here going, oh my God. I told this person that's watching, that's sitting there, hi, Aaron. Um, I said, wait till you watch her. Now, I know you're throwing a lot of people off. Oh, there he is now. Hi, Aaron. Um, uh, I know you're throwing a lot of people off because they're like, I thought he said she was from Texas. That is definitely a New York Bronx accent. No, okay, it's not New York and it's not Texas. Where are you from? Where's that?
Oh,
Where's that? What are we hearing?
okay. So I was born in British Forces, Germany, many, many
Oh,
years ago, and I have lived in many countries. So the accent most people pick up is my Belfast Northern Irish accent, which is where I claim as home. Um, but I have lived in Belgium, Saudi Arabia, Hong Kong, China,
wow.
Cyprus, and most recently, the last 10 years, I've lived in America, which I now claim as my home.
Were you a military child or something?
I was. I was.
Okay.
We
Now,
moved
when you said Germany, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have never heard that. What did you call it? British Forces Germany?
British Forces, Germany.
Okay. So what town would that be or what area? And why did you? I've never heard that.
So interestingly, I found out that a few years ago, so we call it BFG, British Forces Germany. It no longer exists, but basically it was a territory where both uh, British forces and American military occupied Germany post World War II to basically take over the peacekeeping territory. So I mostly lived in the north and in the northwest of Germany. I was there for 15 years. I absolutely love it. I recommend it to everybody. But it was a very unique childhood because you obviously grew up on military bases. You grew up in a country that spoke another language. I went to a military school, and then all of my friends had basically the same level of income, the same demographic, the same outfits. We went on the same summer vacations. Everything was so uniform, the same houses, the same, vanilla interior, the same perfectly manicured lawns. And it was almost like the Truman Show. Just a very,
I was
very
gonna say, have you been checked for chips?
it is a very abstract and unusual childhood. And obviously, Germany is now thriving. The peace treaty has, expired, and the British troops have since left. So everything that was my childhood, I believe, has been given back to Germany. It's under their full occupation. I think the American troops now too are leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
believe the hospital I grew up in is now like a cosmetic surgery.
oh,
It's like a desk.
well, you'll have to give me their number for sure. Clearly, I can use that. Now, I know, so that's BFG, but have you ever been to BFE?
I have not.
That's bum blank Egypt. I can't say the middle words. So I say, oh, cool, I like that. So listen, okay, so I don't. There's so many directions I want to go with this, but I don't want to be too all over the place. Let me get this one comment up so we can switch gears from the moon. Michael, a good friend of mine. Hi, Michael Toy from San Francisco. He says, "Hi, I see you still in there. I'm looking over the top." This is a long comment. The moon is an energy source that affects the Earth in many different ways. We call Mother Earth. We call it Mother Earth because Mother Earth produces all these beautiful plants and trees and rivers in nature because the planets line up according to the rotation of the gravitational poles throughout the universe. To the moon would be both just a huge energy source, kind of like female and male, and everything you would think about a perfect utopia that drives force. So obviously, Michael, you two are good friends with the moon. All righty, who knew? All these people were like buddies, BFFs with the moon. I still say the best relationship you can possibly have outside of your spouse is with the two. I'm gonna stick to that. So let me. Oh, Michael had more to say about you. She's totally right. Things are manifesting the last few weeks, and there's a lot of good things that are coming, but you need to be open to it to understand what's happening to receive the offering of the harvest moon. Oh, isn't that a country song? No. Okay, Harvest Moon. I don't know. Anyway, if it's not, somebody write it. It should be. Great title, Harvest Moon. Um, that really is a thing, Harvest Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it with the farmers and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, out of all the places you've lived, I know the one that stood out to me that I was like, you lucky. I want to see if it's the same place. What out of all those is your favorite one? It starts with an H and it has a second letter, a second word starts with K.
Oh my goodness. I have been all over.
Hong Kong. Was that your favorite?
So I was very young. I was 5 when I was in Hong Kong, and I absolutely love it. I have very vivid memories of fish jerky, noodles,
Okay.
a lot of smells, and a lot of technology. I remember we were one of the first houses. This was in the mid '80s. We had like portable CD players before they were even known to, I think, people in the '90s. We had like
Wow.
our players. We had a lot of technology. So obviously now working in the digital space and being on the forefront of how companies are changing, there is a bit of a throwback in that I was a bit of a tech nerd growing up. I had a computer before they were in most people's homes.
Wow.
But yeah, very, very.
Wow.
And then I was in Saudi when I was 16, which is about the worst time that a young, rebellious, independent, strong-minded, stubborn female would ever want to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
It was probably my least favorite, but it was one of my shortest stays. But I would love to go back and visit the Emirates. I will say my favorite place, though, my home is New Orleans.
Really? We're watching a show that's based there right now, Queen Sugar. And
Uh,
have you seen that show?
no.
It's on the OWN network. It's an Oprah show, and it's based there. And it's just one of the most interesting places in our country. And I have never been there. But people tell no, no, you can clear this up. A lot of people, when you say you want to go there, say, well, just don't go during Mardi Gras. It's dangerous. Don't go in the French Quarter, you'll get murdered. Things like that. And so it scared the shit out of people. Skip. I'll put a quarter in the potty mug. But I mean, it did. It scared me, and I had a chance to go once, and people were like, "Oh, it's worse than being in Central. What's that thing in New York? What's that Central Square? What is that thing? Times Square on New Year's Eve." Um, but then there are people I know from Lafayette who have told me it's not just that. There's a lot more to it. You tell us what is it you like so much or love so much about New Orleans?
I will completely agree with that. If it is your first year, I do not recommend going during Mardi Gras. It is hot, there are crowds. That Bourbon Street hustle is as serious as people say. You cannot move. It is like, the Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day.
Wow.
But there are ways around it. You can go, we usually go uptown. It's a little, more spaced out. It's a little more local. You'll have, people kind of tailgating. But for me, New Orleans is a beautifully authentic city. It has a high crime rate and it owns it and it knows it. The citizens put up their own public funded CCTV system to counter it. It knows its flaws, but it does not stop. It wants to go out. It wants to party. It wants to show up. People in New Orleans are very present. One of the things that I love is the community there. There's no place in the world like it. It is both traditional,
Mm-hmm.
conservative, it is liberal, it is progressive, it is contradictory, it is steeped in magic, and there's voodoo and dark arts, and there is technology and new businesses and companies. It is such a melting pot of what makes America great, and there are
Wow.
people from all walks of life that are celebrated and revered. And I was lucky enough to live in a community called the Marinade, which is just off of Frenchman Street near the French Quarters. And it is artists, thespians, writers, just beautifully creative people. And the art, the poetry, the music, the food, those are world renowned. And to have those on your doorstep and to live in a community where every day is celebrated, every person is celebrated and represented, I think is one of the most beautiful and inspiring places I've ever been.
Wow.
Because of the crime and because of the damage that was done to a lot of schools post Katrina,
Mm-hmm.
were never refunded. A lot of the schools were not reopened. When I decided it was time for me to settle down and have my family, I had to make a very difficult decision, and I had to leave New Orleans because I couldn't, in good faith, raise my daughter somewhere where, she would be in jeopardy or
Right.
wouldn't receive a good education system. But I will tell you now, since moving back to the South, I'm in Austin, we're only a few hours drive. I definitely plan, once all of this has passed, on spending a lot more time there. So if you haven't been, I highly recommend going. Two of
I
my most
will.
favorite times of the year are Labor Day weekend. They have one of the largest gay pride parades. It's a 3-day
Really?
out spectacular. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Huge. So Southern Decadence is incredible. It is Mardi Gras for gay people and for everybody. So the quarters, there's actually what we call the Rainbow Quarters. A lot of people don't know. If you stumble too far down Bourbon Street, you end up in the Rainbow Quarters, which
Okay.
is all of there's stripper poles and gay bars, and it's a really, really fun and welcoming
Girl.
so good, so
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of debauchery. You will definitely have a lot more fun at Southern Decadence, no matter which way you identify, than at Mardi Gras, I promise you. And then Halloween is like a 2-week
Oh my
spectacular.
God. Oh, I
there's
bet.
there's daily parades, don't bring one costume, bring 10 changes. And I
Wow.
will say the parades over Halloween are a lot more controversial. They're a lot more politically charged. They're very satirical. There's more humor. There's a lot more boobies than at Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras obviously is heavily moderated for the media and for
Right.
tourism. So, and it's not as hot in October too. Louisiana gets hot in the summer, and if you make the mistake, you could be, 115 degrees, and you're
Oh
not going to
no.
have fun. So,
Oh God.
October,
Brian wouldn't that won't work. We'll have to go when it's cooler. Brian has to take we have two sets of luggage that carry nothing but fans when we go. And then we have two more sets of luggage that carry all of his products. So yeah, it's right when we go somewhere. Oh Lord! But anyway, well, that's thank you for that travel log. It's I'm just sitting here going, is there no subject that you can't throw out and Clara Goodwin talks about it like she's got a television show based on just that topic? You're really a learned person, let me tell you. And I want to ask you something though. Seriously, have you ever, Clara Goodwin, have you ever, and be honest, have you ever interviewed for a job that you did not get?
no.
See, I was gonna say she had to think about it. Somebody asked me that question, I'm like, hell yeah. Most of them.
I will tell you, I have interviewed and I have gotten jobs that I have been absolutely terrible and the wrong person for. So it has come back on me twofold sometimes. But no, I feel like when you travel, you meet so many people. I'm always the person that will talk to you and ask you, what book are you reading? What are you doing? Where are you going in life? And some of my most transformational conversations that I've had in my life, where I have learned so much from other people, has been while traveling. So being gifted with a life where we were moving house every year, I built up this incredible reserve of resilience. I am
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to put myself in difficult situations. I encourage everybody, get out of your comfort zone daily, talk to new people, do something that scares you, because you will learn so much more than you will just from staying in your comfort zone. But I do. Some days I feel like those really old sea turtles that are hundreds of years old, because I have lived many, many different lives. And I feel like this is a very new chapter for me now.
And we're so excited to be a part of it. So I want to ask you here at this point, this juncture, because when we met you, you were in publishing, and a lot of the roads that you travel in your business world
Mhm.
are what are still pretty dominant with male testosterone, with machismo, with the good old boys club and all that. Talk about it if you could for a second. Um, uh, well, think about it for a second. I want you to talk about what it's like and how long. Here's the question we're going to take. We're going to give you, and you can think about it during our 1 minute break, and then we'll be right back. But I'd like you to, when we come back, tell us what's it like when you have to convince the male vibes in the room to take you seriously. Because I don't believe that that's the kind of thing that is automatic. We'll talk about that when we come back from break. Stay put. And we're back. I just want to say shout out and thank you to both of my sponsors for the month of July and August, the Emperor's Medicine, Acupuncture, Holistic Everything, Functional Medicine, everything you need to be the best version of yourself. Also, my good friends, family owned local eatery, Greek eatery, Nikki's of Naperville. both places, if you're in the area or you know someone who is, get on the horn and tell them to check out both of those, Emperor's Medicine in the case of Naperville. And we're back with Clara Goodwin, who is just about to tell us about what it's like when because you go into these companies that are stuck and they expect probably a school marm with her hair in a bun, and then you walk in. Do you have to dress down your obvious good looks? And do you sometimes how do you feel about people who feel like they have to? I know a little girl, a friend of mine's daughter. She's like, well, when she was 8, she used to do this. She was so smart that she dumbed herself down for acceptance. Have you ever had to do that? And how do you move through this male dominated business world?
Okay,
A
wow.
lot there. I know there's a lot there, but I'm known for that.
Questions. I think for context, when you and I first met, I was working for a media company. I was the VP creative director for a media company in Manhattan. And we had a total of 7 companies underneath us that we were creating content for. And most of those were male dominated. And I do see.
There he comes. Clara. Hi, Clara. Okay, go ahead. So male dominated companies.
And absolutely. And because
Okay.
very much so there's this trend of guys, it's very much like a bros club. Guys get together, it's a digital fraternity. These are guys that want to have fun, make money, work hard, play hard, and they're living that remote lifestyle. And I was brought into a team of 6 guys who were basically traveling the world, going to Thailand and Bhutan, and backpacking and having the time of their life. And
Something
when
from a movie.
just having the best life. And I completely support that. But you are absolutely right and very perspective to call it out, because when things started to go south, and as happens in businesses, trends change. In the 90s, there was a real boom for dating, for pickup artistry, for a lot of male supplements. You touched on there was a lot of herbal pills that were going around. These
Mm-hmm.
a lot of bank during that time. And obviously they, not necessarily that the problem was fixed, but those things kind of fell out of favor. Dating apps started coming in, so it's a little bit harder to kind of teach and receive payment for services you can get now for free. So companies like that will bring me in on how to kind of transition. And one of the hardest parts about that is going into these male dominated environments where they automatically assume that yes, you are going to be the mother figure and you're going to fix everything and put a band-aid on it and kiss the boo-boo and make it all better.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes to you served on a platter of, but could you get the coffee, love? And can you do this? And can you work the factory? And it can be a double-edged sword, because when things are going good, I'm the secretary, and I have definitely experienced the gender pay gap people talk about. There has been times in my life where I was working at less than minimum wage, out of circumstance, because I had to, knowing that the men that I was working with, I'm working 3 or 5 times the amount of their hours. I'm doing their work, and now I'm getting paid a pittance in comparison, and I'm getting it done with attitude. So there has definitely, I think when people start seeing a lot of the tensions amongst diversity and what's happening on, for instance, on social media right now, it's because there has been, issues that have gone untalked about. People, not that long ago were spanking women on the butt in the workplace and telling them, good job, you did good.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's sexual harassment. So we need to have these uncomfortable conversations in order to move forward. And my hopes are perhaps they didn't know the way that they were talking to me or treating me. I definitely had people who have suggested that because I look a certain way, or I'm quite well endowed, that was how I have
You
gotten
are?
or
Well,
I have
who knew? Well,
you know
okay. Mm,
and interestingly, a lot of those comments come from other women. And
right.
I have learned over the years to kind of take it as a compliment. And I no longer see it as like a male female issue. I see it as an issue with how we create social hierarchies in the workplace. So things that I now identify as being the real issues are lack of healthcare and benefits for workers, lack of maternity and paternity leave for parents who wish to take time off. And I think if we were to go into those issues, I think you would realize a lot of people aren't spiteful. They're not mean. They're not filled with hatred, or, they don't intend to discriminate. A lot of my experiences come from a lack of infrastructure. Those conversations have happened in my life because I haven't put my foot down and set strong boundaries, and I've let them happen. I've let
Mhm.
so much slide across my desk
Out of
because
necessity, mostly?
I've had to. I've had no choice.
Right.
You know yourself. I only recently had my immigration. It was a wonderful.
Hey, congratulations. Long time coming.
Thank you. Very, very long and difficult journey. And then the other, like I said, is really just how businesses operate here. So the very cool thing with what I do now with working with these startups is I have an opportunity to build up new infrastructure. So we have employees that have equal opportunities, diversity in the workplace. I'm working with a company right now that I absolutely adore, who are looking to help women in the legal field be better represented. Because again, you go into an attorney's office, the attorney's the one, the guy is cashing the big checks.
Yeah.
The women are expected to stay behind the desk and file their nails and work on archaic systems. And I have said for years, if men had periods, we would not be putting women on hormone replacement pills and making them live their lives the way they are.
Right.
We have streamlined that a hot minute ago and made that a better process. So it is really, I think it's really about accepting what you cannot change and changing what you can, and being outspoken where possible. So that's where my value system aligns with businesses. When I talk about growth, obviously monetary growth is a big part of that, and business owners want, a strong revenue stream.
Right.
Encourage personal growth, developmental growth, change in how you operate, your value system, your moral, your code of ethics. You're telling people you're having a sale and there's X amount of discounts. Are there really? Your customers may not know, but are you being authentic and true? So it's
Mm.
a real honor to work with people who have authenticity, who want to create this better world, for everybody, and have that inclusion that we all crave. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, we all just want connection. We just want to be heard and understood and loved for who we are. So that's how I'm helping to contribute towards that conversation. I think that that's a conversation that looks different for everybody. But I also feel too that something that has helped me, while it's easy to, put on a dress or, straighten your hair, I have quite a masculine energy and presence, which when I was younger, I struggled with greatly because
Hmm.
I am quite overbearing. I know that I can be quite forceful. And I take a lot of that from my dad, who was, a very high commanding military officer. So I am an INTJ. I am a thinking, processing, efficiency machine. Those are not soft, fluffy, emotional
Girl.
characteristics that people expect from women. So I dominate in the boardroom, but I have a hard time in the bedroom because, like you said, men start a conversation with me and then they go, "This is too much work," or "This is above my pay grade," or
Right. Yeah. They have to really think about what they're about to say, or they could step into something they can't wipe off their feet.
exactly.
You
So
know. Or in our family, in my family, my grandmother would say, "Oh, you just wrote a check that with your mouth that your ass can't cash." You see what I mean? Right. So, what are you drinking? Because it's got to be something not available to most of us because you have all the inside scoop, and I want to know everything. So, what is in that? What are you drinking?
cold brew, and then I just have a little bit of MCT oil in it.
What is that?
So MCT oil is basically like a coconut cold compress. So obviously there's a lot of health benefits in coconut oil. In
Oh,
order
of course I know that.
to
No, yeah, I see it on the shelves in the store.
anybody who's been on Pinterest knows that you can use coconut oil to cure anything allegedly online. But a lot of people don't realize, much like proteins, there are essential and non-essential. In order to get all of the health benefits from the whole coconut, you need both the refined coconut oil, but you also need like the MCTs, which is just like a refined version. I call it rocket fuel because it's basically just pure energy. Your brain is able to metabolize MCT oil incredibly fast. So when I'm
Where do you get
fasting,
that? You get it
sorry,
offline? Do you go to the store? Where do you find that?
yep, you can get it in most grocery stores now. It's actually very widely available and on Amazon. I would just say look for ones that do not have the palm oil extract. Because those are inferior quality, and unfortunately people are now, due to the demand of like the ketogenic diet, are farming the plants that the orangutans depend on to get the palm oil kernels. So
See what
no.
I'm saying? You, we could have. That's going to be another show. We're going to just put a whole bunch of topics in a fish bowl, just the most obscure things, and you're like a walking encyclopedia. I am not kidding. Here you were talking about MCT oil and get the one with no palm extract. And then you say, and then the orangutans, who, by the way, actually are in the midst of their mating season right now. And did you know that they love a cool temperature of 74 degrees Fahrenheit? And that's when, girl, I'm like, I would love to take you places just to show you off about and take you where people think girls aren't that smart or pretty girls can't be smart and just set you off on them, just throw you in the room and let you devour them all. So I want to know what's the name of the oil that you use because we're going to try it. You said energy. Uh,
Oh, it is. I take a shot and I will say, start slowly and work your way up. I will let you Google online. You will find very quickly why, but start slowly, work up. It is very potent. I use the Bulletproof, which is the Dave Asprey line. They have a
bulletproof MCT oil.
correct, and they
I'm getting
have,
that.
so there's different. So basically, MCTs are different triglyceride chain lengths. So not to stress you out too much, but depending on how many. So if you have like a 4 molecule, it's gonna hit you very fast. But your body is going to process and digest it as fast as you receive it, and you want to kind of delay that. So you know how your morning joe can help with the flow.
Yeah.
Oil definitely has a little bit of that potency too. So I like to mix mine with my coffee in the morning. Bulletproof is, thank you. And honestly, I share her lesser traits too. I can be just as self-righteous and indignant as Hermione.
Yeah, that's so funny. And Michael is a great Michael. Here's our next random question for you or topic. Michael, type in the name of this water that you're so high on right now. I mean it. He's got this doctor, Dr. Boo, who's been calling me, and I've been trying to call her back about this living water. Are you up on that? Have you heard of that?
I have not heard of that one, but I am a
Okay.
fan of water quality.
There's water that is like different than other and it's just a lot. It's a lot, but they are so when a person is so passionate about something that they know because they've experienced it firsthand, uh, and they won't leave you alone. I stop and I listen. I really do because usually nowadays people say, "How do you tell the real from the fake? How do you see the forest for the trees?" And I want to and I want to know when you're looking at things or you're making those decisions, you're walking around an opportunity. How long does it take for Clora to say, "Okay, the jury's in"?
Good question, because honestly, I have been, as I mentioned at the start of this, I'm very resistant to change. I do not like change. So I'm an INTJ. I'm very structured processes, systems. I was raised in Germany. Everything should be by the book. I do not like to change. I like everything set in stone, so I know what my expectations are and where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going in. So I came into the keto space about 5 or 6 years ago, and I started hearing about this carnivore trend about 4 years ago. And it took me, no joke, 3 years of people, like you said, highly passionate people, doctors, fitness experts, people much more qualified and certified to talk on these topics than myself,
Mm-hmm.
were just preaching, just absolutely preaching the gospel of the benefits of these. And I had the pleasure of meeting many of them this time last year here in Austin at KetoCon. And I thought, carnivore, what an extreme, far agenda dietary program. It's so restrictive. And for those of you who haven't heard of the carnivore diet, it is kind of a very subsection of the ketogenic diet where people are only eating animal-based products. So kind of the antithesis of a vegan. They are eating so ribeye steaks, high fat, see, and that's where we start to win people back. And you think, okay, steak and eggs for breakfast and dinner, I can do that.
Yeah.
And we're doing that. You can include the butter and the cream and the dairy, so we can keep those. You're just going to
That
be
sounds like the diet of a dream diet.
Honestly, it's not difficult. So last night I did step out. I went to Whataburger and I got their triple patty with cheese. And that's like a cheat meal for me.
Oh my
And
God, they have a Whataburger where you live?
yes, many, many, many here. So, so good.
So good.
But I
Okay.
broke a 35-day animal based diet streak, and I feel incredible. And I think it takes me a long time to take that leap of faith to make a change. And then when I do, I kick myself every time because I feel so incredible so quickly. And I notice such a huge difference. I lost so much weight, but here's where carnivore has been very different for me. I have been doing reverse dieting for about a year and a half now, which is a process where you're kind of slowly increasing your calories while still being able to lose weight. So if you have a history like myself of eating disorders, or you've been on those yo-yo diets and you're losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, your metabolism really has to heal, and it needs time to do that. And I think the combination of eating more, allowing my body to understand, like, this isn't a feast or famine situation. You don't have to store every little morsel of food that I put into you. There will be plenty to come. And then combining that with this high protein, low carb diet, you're almost eating no carbs on carnivore. So you're going into a state of ketosis where your body is running on ketones, not glucose for energy. Really just kind of like transformed my body. I've lost about 34 pounds since April 1st when I moved to Austin.
Of this year?
Of this year. And that has been with quitting the gym because I can't go to the gym right now.
Right. That's
And
why Brian and I claim we have COVID, all right, COVID 20 pounds.
and, and unfortunately, a lot of people have
Have
because
gained 20 pounds. That's the average.
they don't know what to do. You're stuck at home, you're bored, you're staring at the refrigerator, you're not seeing your friends. If you're extroverted like you're not able to go out and, have fun. So you have to kind of get back from somewhere else.
Right.
Cool. So
And we ate our way through quarantine.
but you will get it back. Like once the world starts opening up and you're active, it will come back. So I really took quarantine to be this time of retreat. I wanted to use it intentionally to take care of myself. So I thought, what better way to do something that is quite extreme? This is a hard elimination diet. You're removing all processed foods, all sugar, all vegetables, all plant-based foods from your diet.
That's hard for people to wrap their minds around. All vegetables just doesn't sound natural.
Well, and so this is where it gets really interesting. So back in the 50s, mom would make bacon and eggs for the family for breakfast. And then the cereal companies came in and started pushing these high sugar, because they wanted to, get into lobbying with people that made the high fructose corn syrup, who were then paying off the research studies to say, oh, well, eggs are going to give you cholesterol. But actually, there's no confounding evidence that that's even true. So one of the things that I really encourage people, because I do not advocate any type of extreme diet for anybody, is to find what works for you. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I have a lot of deficiencies. I have very low iron levels. I'm anemic. So eating a lot of red meat. And when I'm doing keto, I generally eat a lot of red meat. I eat a lot of green vegetables. So I'm eating lots of spinach, broccoli that have the micronutrients that my body type needs.
That
And
you
I
need.
think you should know very quickly. So for me, plants made me feel awful. I have a lot of vegan friends, vegetarians, pescatarians. They do it. They look incredible. They feel, energized and healthy. I eat cauliflower. I bloat up. I feel miserable. I crave sugar. It's just a very unpleasant experience. And I just don't think that my body enjoys a plant-based diet. So when I switched
Uh-huh.
over to carnivore, it just took the wheel and did the work for me. I started losing the weight. And best of all, I started losing the stubborn weight. The midsection,
Belly weight. Mm-hmm.
section, my body just was, it knew what to do because it was being fed the right foods.
It's
So,
so interesting. When you say carnivore, I picture the opening of the Flintstones cartoon where Fred pulls up to the drive-in and they come to bring out the brontosaurus ribs or whatever, and the car flips over. I'm like, oh my God. Well, anyway, listen, I can't believe how quickly this hour zoomed past us. And I remember when I reached out to you about coming, you're like, well, what would I talk about? Girl, for real. So you need your own show. Have you ever considered that?
I have. I've been nervous. It's that resilience again. I want to get up and put myself out there. I know that I will, but I also have that resistance that I have to
Well,
overcome.
I want to tell you, the person I had watching you, that's why they were here watching you. Aaron is the president of a television network.
Oh wow.
And that's why I had him come and take a look at you today. So
Oh,
expect a call.
oh, you are so sweet. Thank you
I'm
so much.
serious. Expect a call. It's
You're
your
so
time. And I knew this was the only way because I heard it. I knew when we were on our discovery call together. And Clara, you've been in my life all this time and you've done nothing but bring beauty and joy. And you're just so smart and you're a great mom and you know so much. You are here to turn the lights on for a lot of people in this world. And I'm so, so, so excited to know you. Honored to be a part of your life. And I'm looking forward to the Clara Goodwin show or whatever it's going to be called because I know it's going to be a hit. For those of you out there that want to continue dialogue with Clara, there it is on the screen. Couldn't get any simpler, more simple. At Clara is all you have to do, and you can query her on just about anything as we witnessed here today. Clara Goodwin, I'm serious. You'll probably get that call today. So I hope it goes well. I'll be praying for you. Kiss
Oh,
that beautiful baby of yours.
thank
She's so blessed to have you, and I know you know how blessed you are to have her. Thank you again from the bottom of our heart. You have an open door policy as far as an open door invitation, rather, to come here anytime the spirit moves you. Okay,
Oh,
all
I
right.
love it. Thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you so much to everybody who took the
You,
time to hang out with us today.
oh, thank you, Clara, and I can't wait to find out how this uh, call goes. You guys have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you Monday morning, God willing, right here. I'll meet you out front on the front porch for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments. Be safe. Bye bye, everybody.